Sunday, September 5th, 2021.
As the dangerous Delta variant continues to surge in many parts of the country, we're seeing more and more breakthrough COVID cases among the fully vaccinated. Friend of the show, Sophia Nelson, has one of those breakthrough cases despite being vaccinated and having had COVID before. As she writes, to have to face this scourge again while being fully vaccinated leaves me speechless. I thought I was safe from infection. Sophia joins us now by phone. She is an NBC News contributing columnist with Know Your Value and author of E Pluribus One. Also with us is Dr. Uche Blackstock, founder and CEO of Advancing Health Equity. Thank you both very much for coming back to the Sunday show. Sophia, I have to ask you, one, how are you? And two, are the symptoms as someone vaccinated different with COVID than you had when you originally had COVID before you were vaccinated?
So first of all, Jonathan, thanks for having me. I am doing better. I can tell you that the symptoms are much milder than the first go-round in February 2020 when I had it pre-vaccine, pre-even knowing what we had. In fact, Jonathan, I didn't find out I had it until May of 2020 when they could test you for the antibodies. So I had treatment yesterday in the hospital, the antibodies and the Regen, and I think that's helping a lot. But you can tell I still sound pretty shaky here, but I'm doing better than the first go-round for sure.
You sound shaky. You say you sound shaky, but you sound like the same Sophia. What is your message now, having been hit with your second COVID diagnosis, to those who are vaccinated and to those who aren't?
Well, first of all, we discussed as a family whether or not we should go to the beach house down in South Carolina that we've gone to forever, and we made a decision that we were all vaccinated, so we probably would be fine. You know, we bought food, stayed in, etc. But my message to people is that if you're going to go to a state that has low vaccination rates for vacation, and if they're not wearing masks, you as a vaccinated person better be extra vigilant, and maybe you should stay home, because you see what the result was for me, and I do know some others where we were got it as well. So it's just an unfortunate thing. I think I thought I was invincible because of the vaccine, and I want folks to know you're not. You got to wear your mask, you got to go to places where people are vaccinated, and you have to be safe, and we're still not out of the woods yet.
Sophia, what a great message that you're sending to everyone watching. Dr. Blackstock, let me bring you into this and talk about another aspect of the pandemic, and that is the impact on children. You wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post with the headline, 2 words no parent of a sick child should have to hear: at capacity. And you write, federal, state, and local leaders have an obligation to ensure that our most vulnerable, including vaccinated children, are protected. In addition to ensuring adults and eligible children are vaccinated, we need policies that support non-pharmaceutical interventions to decrease transmission. Talk more about that.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me on, Jonathan, and Sophia. I'm glad to hear that you are feeling better. Yes, so I wrote this piece because, when my child was 3 weeks old, he required a pediatric ICU. At the time, we only had to wait a few hours for his bed. But what we're seeing now across the country, especially in the Southeast, our pediatric ICUs are at capacity. We are seeing a surge in pediatric cases overall, hospitalizations, and ICU admissions, which means that we are doing a very poor job of protecting our most vulnerable. And right now, our most vulnerable are our children, because they are not eligible yet for vaccinations. And we've actually been using, this vaccination-only strategy. And so I really want to encourage the administration to think about also reinforcing that masks are incredibly important to preventing the spread. Vaccinations obviously are going to help in the long run, but it's going to take a while until we get a critical percentage of the population vaccinated. We also have to consider other measures like testing, rapid testing. Really, every family that sends a child to school should have access to free and rapid testing. And there are other mitigation strategies like ventilation that we need to focus on. And so all of those are important multi-layered strategies that are crucial to keeping our children safe.
And Dr. Blackstock, I hear you on masks. Sophia talked about masks, but we're living in a country where we have governors in at least 2 states who are making it impossible. They are getting in the way of jurisdictions, in the way of their ability to mandate masks. How your reaction to that?
Yeah. No, and Jonathan, it's absolutely unconscionable that governors and other elected officials would actually get in the way of evidence-based public health measures. But, I see, the Department of Education sort of using legal loopholes, such as the civil rights investigation against some schools against disability law. Like, we need to see what federal powers can be used to ensure that, our students and our children are safe, regardless of whether state leaders oppose these mask mandates, because we know that when we use multiple strategies, we can create safer classrooms for our kids. And the fact is over the next few weeks, more and more children, including my children, will be returning to school. And there's such variability across the country. We need a consistent, clear plan of how we can make school safe for our children.
And one more quick question for you, Dr. Blackstock. Right now, children are not eligible to be vaccinated. Is there any, do we see it on the horizon, a decision that children could be vaccinated?
Yes, so absolutely. The data from the Pfizer trials for 5 to 11-year-olds should be submitted by September. People should know it's going to take a few weeks to review that data. It could be 1 to 2 months. I think that optimistically, hopefully by the end of the year, maybe November, December, we can have approval for the Pfizer vaccine for 5 to 11-year-olds. I think that it is imperative and there is incredible urgency to it. So I hope the FDA and CDC continue to work towards that goal.
All right, and with that, we have to leave it there. Dr. Uche Blackstock and Sophia Nelson, get well soon. Your picture on static picture it isn't good enough. We need to see you live and in person. Get well soon. Next, a gun reform activist could become the first member of Gen Z elected to Congress. He joins me after the break.
Please get vaccinated.
It was a wealthy